morning, everyone. Before we begin, it's only appropriate that we pay respects to our nation and all those who have served. We will begin with a presentation of colors by the Martyn High School, JROTC, under the direction of Major Rotc and Sergeant Martinez. Would everyone please stand, remove your hats, and recognize you for the Star Spangled Banner. Again, welcome to Martyn High School. I am Guillermo Pro, the proud principal of the flagship high school of Laredo. You are all now sitting on hallowed ground. You are sitting at the Raymond and Thirsa Martyn High School, the first high school of Laredo. We started it all, we're continuing it all, and the future only looks brighter for the Tigers. Today, we are here to pay respects to our Tiger Legends. Sitting before you, you have either the Tiger Legend or the family representing the pride and winning tradition of the Martyn Tigers. As family members that are here, I got to meet some incredible people today, this morning. It's already been a great day. I have met educators from Zapata. I have met people from San Antonio. I have met people from Mississippi. I have met future generations, grandchildren, parent children, children, maybe not even married children, right? But children nonetheless. And it is incredible. It is incredible to see generations of Tigers, what Tigers have made in this city. Think about all the places that we've gone, all the connections we've made, all the good that Martyn High School has done. And as you sit here today, Tiger Legends, I just want you to soak in today. Today you are home. Today you are with family. And I consider everyone here part of our Tiger family. If you're sitting in this room today, you are part of our family, part of our history and tradition. So it is an honor, it is only right to sit here today and to honor you for everything you've done for our city and for your families. As I said, I'm Mr. Pro, I'm the principal, and it is a tremendous honor to stand here before you to talk about what we've done with Martyn High School since you all have been in school. The things you did here in high school, the memories of sitting outside in the prom dresses in the grass, the memories of the sock hop, the dances in the old gym, the library that used to be upstairs, the dumb waiter, not a person, the dumb waiter that was in the building that would go from the top floor to the bottom floor, the slides that were outside that would allow students to play during lunchtime when they weren't supposed to. And all the wonderful bonfires and all the other wonderful memories that would be illegal today have become sewn into your memory, because that is what made Martyn great. We have so many memories and so many awesome things that happened here, and today you're going to remember them all. They're going to come flooding back to you as we walk the halls later today. The first thing that we need to talk about is what we're going to do today. Today, yes, we're here to honor you, And as you saw when you walked in, you got to experience what Martyn High School has become. The students that have been serving you. We have our Culinary Arts Club that has been working under the direction of Ms. Ann Resendiz. Give them a round of applause. Our incredible band, which that's our Winds Ensemble. They got sweepstakes this year. Our mariachi that perform for you, the Puro Corazon. Tigerettes and cheerleaders and football players that escorted you to your seats. Let's give them a round of applause. And we want to recognize my librarian, Ms. Deborah Garcia and Sunshine Garcia, the library club that is serving you today. Now, we do have some special guests. I do not intend to leave anyone out, so please raise your hand if I don't call your name, please. I do want to recognize our central office staff. We have Dr. Cruz, our Human Resources Director, in the back. Ms. Bobby Ramirez, in charge of compliance. Ms. Maggie Martinez, in charge of student services. Ms. Rosina Silva, in charge of our counselors. I also see the Honorable Judge Tano Tijerina. Thank you for joining us. Honorable Board Member, Mr. Hector Noyola. Our other Honorable Board Member, Ms. Cindy Liendo. I'd like to recognize Mr. Jacinto Juarez, even though he's already going to get a lot of recognition today. He was, I believe, a former city councilman, so let's give him a round of applause. I believe I saw Judge Andy Ramos, former Judge Andy Ramos here? Yes. And did I miss anyone? Everyone here is important. I just don't want to miss anybody. Okay, so thank you all for joining us. I do want to recognize my administrators in the back over there, being silent but good. Mr. Mario Mineles, Ms. Alvin. Now, let me tell you how we do it here. This is how we do it at Tiger Legends. Here, we're very proud to say that in the past several years, we've had tremendous success with the Tigers. Just last year, the state of Texas recognized Martyn High School for 5 academic distinctions from the state of Texas in academics. We have had, I can't even tell you the number, but we're talking about 10, 15, 25, 35. We've had district appearances, region appearances, area appearances, state appearances by our students. Last year we had 3 students that went to state in track and all placed. We had the number 5 hurdler in the state of Texas here from Martyn High School. We had the number 9 runner in cross country here from the state of Texas. We have the band that missed going to state by two spots to make the finals, but the highest that they've ever done, and they've already completed this year. Lavalle del Animal has gotten 4 straight sweepstakes awards. 4 straight. The ROTC is going strong with winning numerous awards. They don't even have enough room for the trophies that they've got. And I know that the mariachi just came back from competition and placed, got first divisions. We have the flag corps under the direction of Mr. Fred Rodriguez back there, placing also in their division. Everywhere you look at Martyn High School, there are positive, awesome things happening. And to brag about us, it says here, right? We can brag. If you looked outside as you drove up, you may have seen a beautiful giant M that you can see from San Bernardo, so that you don't forget where you're driving by, right? And the thing about that M is that it was built by the students. The students in the welding department hand cut it, hand welded it, painted it, and put it up themselves. And that is a tribute to all of the graduates of Martyn High School. We just finished, thank you board members for your support, just finished getting a very expensive, I'm going to say how much, marquee, full color that up there it has, congratulations Tiger Legends, has a tiger. I'm going to be putting your pictures up, and you look beautiful, don't worry. And we're going to put them up there. That's gorgeous. We also have the tiger in the front. We have so many things happening, all positive things. And it all started with you all. The time that you were here at Martyn High School has set up this school for future success. And we could be no prouder. Okay, enough about us. Let's talk about you. The way we're going to do it is we have a student leader that you met earlier that went to your table to meet you and grab you. They're sitting behind you. And our student leader will come up and talk about you. And then you're going to have an opportunity to address your family and talk about your accomplishments and what you did. There's no script here. You may speak freely. We'll just get the hook out if you talk too much. So keep it under an hour. And we just want to say this. Today is all about you. We want to welcome each and every one of you back to your home. And we want to encourage your future families to come by anytime, because now that you're a Tiger Legend, you have full right, full everything. You can park in the front, not in my space, but you can park right next to me. You can come to the football games. You are now part of Martyn High School forever. And we will welcome you as family from here on out, forever and ever. I want to tell you that, and I want to welcome you to Martyn High School, and we'll let the ceremony begin. Thank you all so very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Oscar Hernandez. I am a senior at the Martyn High School and participate in the Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps and also a member of the National Honor Society. And this morning, I am proud and honored to be given the opportunity to present an honorable World War veteran and Tiger Legend, Staff Sergeant Richard A. Leindecker. Staff Sergeant Leindecker was born on August 8, 1923 in Laredo. His beloved parents are Peter P. Leindecker Jr. and Emma Jordan Leindecker. In fact, they were one of Laredo's first pioneer families. Staff Sergeant Leindecker attended to St. Peter Memorial Parochial School in his early years. Then, he continued his education at Martyn High School. While at high school, Staff Sergeant Leindecker participated in football, Epsilon Iota Alpha, and was part of the National Thespian and the National Thespian tends to give recognitions to students who attain excellence in high school dramatics. His ambition after high school were to attend Texas A&M, and proudly did after becoming a war hero. It was not until service to his country was required that Staff Sergeant Leindecker, filled with bravery, enlisted into the armed forces on August 18, 1942, at only age 19. He served in the Air Force during World War II and was assigned to the 14th headquarters of the 301 Heavy Bomber Group, 15th Air Force, with orders for duty to the European theater. He served as a waist gunner holding a 50-meter caliber on a B-17 Flying Super Fortress bomber. Furthermore, on August 7, 1994, his aircraft was shot down and he was declared missing in action. Miraculously, Staff Sergeant Leindecker survived the crash but was captured by the German army and was held as a prisoner of war in a camp. He had endured almost a year in POW camp. After the end of the war, it was commanded to liberate all prisoners of war. Staff Sergeant Leindecker's bravery was beyond reach without a doubt. Because of his unrelenting courage, he was awarded multiple honors and medals that any soldier can only aspire to have, and Mr. Richard Leindecker achieved. Among medals here were the following: the Good Conduct Medal, Air Medal, European, African, Middle Eastern Medal, granting him 4 stars, Prisoner of War Medal, World War II Victory Medal, World War II Lapel Button, and World War II Bomber Wings. After his return, he was determined to enroll again at Texas A&M to study civil engineering. Soon after, he married Mrs. Blanche Flores and had 4 sons, Richard, Gary, Paul, and Mark. He began to work in the family construct business with his father. In 1980s, 290s, he founded Leindecker Constructions with the help of his sons. He kept on working and improving his company his entire life. Staff Sergeant Leindecker embodies the qualities of a good brother, an excellent student, a brave soldier, a loving father, and a successful businessman. He is a true hero by serving his country. In fact, the Laredo American Legion Post 59 dedicated a hall in his honor. The U.S. Army Air Corps Tech Sergeant Richard A. Linedecker. It is an honor to present a brave hero and soldier, Tiger Legend inductee from the Mighty Tiger class of 1942, Staff Sergeant Richard A. Linedecker. And here to accept the award is one of his sons, Mr. Linedecker.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Paul Linedecker, and I'm here on behalf of my other brothers, Mark, Gary, and Richard, Jr. I don't have anything prepared, but I do want to thank the Tiger Legends Committee for this honor in my father's name, and for recognizing his service to our country. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Carmen Gomez. I am a part of the class of 2018. It is an honor for me to be presenting a role model to our community. Gilberto Villarreal, from the mighty class of 1950, lived on 2440 San Eduardo Avenue throughout his elementary and high school years. He was the son of Maria G. Villarreal and Pio Quinto Villarreal. In the summer of 1948, he was accidentally shot and wounded and unable to return to school for some time. Due to the lodging of the bullet, he went through a major surgery in Foundation Hospital in New Orleans, Louisiana. This was deemed one of the first open-heart surgeries ever performed. Even after this terrible accident, Gilberto was determined to return to Martyn High School and graduate as a mighty Tiger. While attending high school, Gilberto always worked at the ranch assisting his father in his cattle-raising business. After high school, Gilberto proceeded to attend Laredo Junior College, where he received his Business Associate's degree, and later continued his studies at Texas A&I University in Kingsville, Texas. After graduating from college, he worked as a vocational agriculture teacher at Zapata High School. He also focused on his cattle-raising business and pursued a political career where he became the Zapata County Sheriff. The attributes that helped him succeed were determination, endurance, and dedication. Some memories he remembers fondly were ROTC, football games, and proms. Some words of wisdom Mr. Villarreal wanted to share are: always add commitment and dedication to your goals. It is a privilege to introduce to you Ms. Celia M. Villarreal, receiving the recognition for Tiger Legend, Mr. Gilberto Villarreal, of the class of 1950.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Villarreal, and I'm the son of Gilberto Villarreal. And this is my mother, Maria Celia Martinez de Villarreal. I want to first thank all the honorees, well deserved. It's a privilege to be among all these honorees, tremendous accolades that they have. Mr. Linedecker, wow, that's amazing. What he endured during the war is truly amazing. I would like to also thank all the family that's here. I want to thank all my sisters that are here, Linda Villarreal, Cynthia Villarreal, and Amada Villarreal Garza. My other brothers couldn't be here. One of them is in West Virginia, Pennsylvania, so he's a little far away, so he couldn't be here. I also want to thank some of the other family members, Mr. Dr. Herbeck and Ms. Rosina Martinez Silva. Thank you all very much, and my cuñado, Javi Garza, and of course my wife, Marta Villarreal, and all my nieces, I know Triana and Maria Massa, and my little nieces down over there. And of course, also Gilbert Villarreal, who's my nephew, and my godson, and his wife, Laura. Thank you all very much. Martyn High School was a very important place. I guess because of Martyn, we probably wouldn't be here. My mom attended Ursuline all her life, and other than one summer semester, and that's when she met my dad. So that's so probably with that, we would not be here. My dad loved to teach agriculture. You mentioned Principal Proa about the FFA here, the welding that they did. Well, there in Zapata, it was a small community. I know Bobby Ramirez is here from Zapata. Over there, I guess the first football stands, the FFA guys had to weld them. So they did those. It was a pretty monumental task that they had to do. The fences. One of the other things is with the FFA is the competition was going to the ranches. I know Judge Tijerina is here. Going to the ranches and see who could get the boys out there to the ranches and see who could bring down more calves to vaccinate them and earmark them. So those were some of the things. So he loved vocational teaching. He also loved cattle ranching. He leased a lot of country. At one point, he probably leased about 20,000 acres. The day before he passed away, he's been gone from us for 30 years. But the day before he passed away, it was a real dry season, and he moved cattle from one ranch to another. So he had a major heart attack, but we know that he felt good because he knew that his cattle had some vegetation in the new pasture. He loved law enforcement. He was a sheriff. My brother David took his place. My brother David's already been in the FBI for 27 years. My other brother Beto has been in customs for 37 years. My godson was also in customs. So he also loved law enforcement. Again, thank you very much, and again, thank you for the honorees. This year is very important to my family, to my mom especially, because this year my dad completed, it's his 30th year anniversary since he left us. So this is a very important place.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kevin Matthew Arispe. I'm a senior here at Raymond Tiers Martyn High School, and I'm also part of the Martyn High School National Honor Society. Today, I'm honored and privileged to be representing a man who is nothing short of legendary. Retired Master Sergeant of the United States Military, Ruiz Vargas. Vargas was born and raised in Laredo, Texas, and is the son of Juan and Teresa Vargas. Part of the Laredo public school system, he graduated from none other than Martyn High School in May 1953. During his time here at Martyn High, he was part of the JROTC program all throughout his 4 years, which was under the command of Major Hine. It was evident that Mr. Vargas had a passion for the military, as he was also a part of the Boy Scout Troop 174. He obtained the rank of Life Scout and served as Junior Assistant Scoutmaster, and in 1953, which was also his senior year, the National Boy Scout Jamboree in California. When he finished high school, he began working for the Inland Steel Company for 3 years. About a year later, he volunteered for the United States military on August of 1957. A decision that would forever change his life. It didn't take long for Mr. Vargas to start climbing the ranks soon after his arrival to the military. In March of 1958, he became a qualified paratrooper and spent most of his Army career in the airborne infantry units. 8 years later, he became part of one of the world's most elite special forces units, the Green Berets, and became a light heavy weapons specialist. During his time in the military, he was assigned to Germany, Vietnam, and Panama. Being a Vietnam veteran of 3 combat tours, Vargas was also a part of the 1st Airborne Division, the 5th Special Forces Group, and the Military Advisory Command. On his 15th year in the military, he was critically wounded by mortar shrapnel during an LOC campaign of the Easter Offensive. Through Mr. Vargas' career in the military, he became an extremely decorated soldier. His military awards consist of the Bronze Star Medal for Valor, the Purple Heart Medal, the Air Medal, the Meritorious Service Medal, and the Army Accommodation Medal. His foreign awards consist of the Republic of Vietnam Gallantry Cross with the Bronze Star. His military badges consist of the Combat Infantry Badge, the Expert Infantry Badge, the Master Parachutist Badge, and the Scuba Diver Badge. After 21 years in the military, Master Sergeant Vargas retired in 1978. Prior to his retirement from military service, he was employed as an Army instructor with the Army's JROTC program with the Jackson Public School District and the Rankin County School District until June of 1976. Mr. Vargas now resides in Brandon, Mississippi with his wife, Dorothy Vargas. Mr. Vargas believes in this message: you haven't lived till you've almost died. For those who fight for it, life has a flavor the protected will never know. All in all, Ruiz Vargas has proven to be more than deserving of the title and honor that he is about to receive. I now present to you Tiger Legend, Master Sergeant Ruiz Vargas from the class of 1953. And accepting the reward on his behalf is his sister, Riley.
I'm Candy Riley, and I'm the sister of Ruiz Vargas, and former Green Beret Special Forces for 21 years. He made 3 tours to Vietnam. I believe he has a toe missing. That's all that happened to him. And he's still active in military affairs and lives in Mississippi. That's why he couldn't be here to attend this affair. Thank you.
Another round of applause for Ms. Ryan.
Good morning, guests, faculty, staff, and students, and welcome to Raymond and Tirsa Martin High School. My name is Daniela Gamboa. I'm a proud senior and a member of the award-winning Mariachi Tigres del Sur and a 2018 class officer. Today, I'm proud to have the opportunity to present the next Tiger Legend, Mr. Jacinto Pablo Juarez, from the class of 1962. As a child, Mr. Juarez lived in 614 Zaragoza Street in the neighborhood known as the Azteca. He is the son of Mr. Humberto Luis Juarez and Ms. Evangelina Juarez. During his high school years, Mr. Juarez was part of the slide rule club and concert choir. Even though he was involved in high school activities, he managed to have a job. He was employed by the Laredo Morning Times as the newspaper carrier, by which in his sophomore year was selected as the best newspaper carrier and was awarded a trip to Europe. Mr. Juarez was able to visit France, Belgium, and the Netherlands. Mr. Juarez remembers how exciting it was to attend all the Martyn Tiger basketball games, football games, dances, slide rule competitions, and participating in choir concerts. And the feeling of Colonel Hyde walking in the halls on a daily basis. According to Mr. Juarez, Ms. McKinley, a math teacher, was the one who encouraged him to pursue a career in the field related to mathematics. Jacinto Juarez was the only student to receive his high school diploma from his brother, who was an LISD board member in 1962. After graduating high school, he worked as an interviewer for the Texas Employment Commission in Laredo. Mr. Jacinto Juarez continued his education and achieved a bachelor's degree in mathematics from Texas A&M University at College Station in 1966, a master's degree in education and psychology from the Texas A&M University at Kingsville in 1974, and his PhD in vocational education and computer science from Texas A&M University at Commerce, Texas in May 1978. After all this, he continued his education in computer science. After graduating from Texas A&M University in College Station in 1966, he worked for San Antonio Independent School District at Irving Junior High School as an algebra teacher. From here, he became part of the LISD family, where he worked at Kristen Junior High, Nixon, and Martyn High School for several years. Mr. Juarez also received numerous Texas certificates like Professional Life Administration, Supervisor, Mathematics, Professional Administration, Real Estate Broker's License, and more. Mr. Jacinto Juarez is currently employed at the Laredo Community College in the position of Dean Emeritus and Computer Science Instructor. He has been employed for 49 years in different positions. He is actively involved in not just the community, but also state, national, and international level. Throughout his participation in appoints different boards and commissions. Some of the national appointments he attended were presidential appointment by President George H. Bush to the White House Initiative of Education Excellence for Hispanic Americans. He served as a vice chairperson of the Hispanic Populations Committee from 2004 to 2010. Mr. Juarez has clearly been a hardworking man throughout the years. His message to the student body is, run your own race and always be prepared. Be organized and read carefully before signing any documents. And most of all, remember that your teachers are preparing you for your future so you will be successful in your chosen career. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great pleasure to present to you Mr. Jacinto Pablo Juarez.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and I want to thank the committee for the honor that you bestowed on me. While I was at Martyn High School, it was difficult for me because I had to follow my brother Humberto, who was most likely to succeed in 1954, and my sister Evangelina, who was valedictorian in 1958. So every single time, in all of my classes, the teachers would remind me, of them and said, "What happened to you?" I used it as motivation to move on, and it's always easy to continue your education. I also, was the only one in the family to attend Texas A&M College Station. All my other brothers went to the University of Texas in Austin, and during Thanksgiving, I was the only one rooting for A&M. During the years at A&M, they would always lose, so I was the one that was always in trouble. But, I remember, when we say that I attended the basketball games, I would always come with my brother George, who's here with me, and we would attend all of the basketball games, and we would see Mr. Noyola, playing basketball. He was an excellent guard in the basketball team, but he graduated a year ahead. But again, he was an excellent basketball player. And it also gives me great satisfaction that I'm here honored with two of my former students, Berta Montemayor and Jose Luis Flores. Jose Luis was my physics student here at Martyn High in 1970, I believe. And Berta was my student at Kristen in algebra. So I have been able to work with the students, and I'm still working with them. And I tell everyone, I haven't been able to graduate from Laredo Community College for 49 years, and I'm still there. And I enjoy it every minute that I'm there. And every single time that something happens in your life, there's a reason for it. I entered the field of education when I didn't pass my physical for the Air Force. That's why I started teaching in San Antonio, because I didn't have a teaching credential, but they told me they needed math and science teachers, so I stayed a year, and then I moved back to Laredo and taught at Martyn. And one semester, when I was here at Martyn High, the principal, Mr. Peña, asked me if I could go on a leave to teach at Nixon High School. So I was at Nixon for one semester because they needed a math teacher, and I went there, and I was very, very pleased. And at the end of the semester, he calls me and says, "Remember, you were on loan. You come back." So I came back. And I also was very, very fortunate to be involved in the activities in the community. As it was mentioned, it was an honor to also be a city council member and represent the people of Laredo. And I've been involved in all of the boards at the state level and at the national level. And I was so proud that I was part of the team that came up with the 2010 census. I was part of the census. We had a good organization, and I just hope that they continue working in a positive direction instead of coming up with negative questions in the census to keep people from signing up or filling out their reports. And I really want to thank the committee again, and also say that everyone that graduated from Martyn High School is a legend. And thank you very much.
Good morning, guests, administration, and students. My name is Angela Garza, a student here at Martyn High School and part of the Dr. Dennis D. Cantu Health Science Magnet as well. I am honored to stand here today and introduce an outstanding Tiger legend, Ms. Cordelia de la Chica Valdez. Daughter of Mr. Alberto J. de la Chica and Ms. Ofelia G. de la Chica, Mrs. Valdez is a proud graduate from the mighty class of 1969. Ms. Valdez lived on 1805 Matamoros Street, the neighborhood known as El Cuatro, throughout her elementary and high school years. As a student at Martyn High School, she was involved in several clubs. She was a part of the Martyn High School Tigerettes, secretary of the student council, and vice president of the thespian club. Besides being in several clubs, she received several recognitions as well. She was voted homecoming queen, most beautiful, prom queen by her classmates, and she won the Best Actress Award in the one-act play. During the summertime, Mrs. Valdez used to work with federal programs, which she feels helped create a strong work ethic. Immediately after graduation, she worked for Bravo Insurance Agency and also attended Laredo Community College for 2 years. Mrs. Valdez has spent much of her time in the political arena. She worked for former County Judge Mercurio Martinez as a court administrator for 12 years, and then with former Webb County Attorney Homero Ramirez as his executive assistant, and she is now working with County Court Judge Tano Tijerina as his executive administrative assistant. Ms. Cordelia Valdez thanks her parents for instilling the value of treating everyone with respect. She was taught how to accept change with a smile, accept failure as lessons we learn so we can succeed in the future. Her high school mentors were Mr. Jack Davis, her drama instructor, and Ms. Carol Wilson and Ms. Patty Guerrero, who taught her to strive for the best. One of her favorite memories from high school that she remembers vividly was when the football team was playing their rival Nixon High School, and Jose Cuel, one of the football players, received the punt return and ran 98 yards for a touchdown and helped the Tigers win 20-7 that night. She has so many wonderful memories of Martyn High, but the one thing she can honestly say is that everyone was so friendly and nice and they treated you with such respect. That is something she knows Martyn High School has always been known for, and she is very proud of that. A message she would like to tell her student body of Martyn High is, be proud of who you are. Treat everyone the way you would like to be treated. Do everything that you do with a passion. Be down to earth, sincere, and never give up. And have faith in the Lord, for miracles do happen. Also, don't forget to spend time with your parents, for they have sacrificed for you, and appreciate them, and most importantly, tell them you love them. I present to you from the class of 1969, Tiger legend, Mrs. Cordelia de la Chica Valdez.
It's an honor to be here with so many of the Tiger Legends that they're presenting today, and it's an honor for the committee to have chosen all such distinguished people. As Angela said, my memories of Martyn High have been fabulous. I enjoyed every minute that I was here during the high school years. Of course, back then we used to walk from home and come back to go home for lunch, come back to school, and it was always walking. So nowadays I know the kids, to have their own vehicles, have their own transportation, and it's just so much different. But I really enjoyed every minute of it, especially the one that Angela mentioned right now about the football team against Martyn and Nixon, and I keep instilling that sometimes with my children. All my children went to Dixon, and my husband is a Nixon graduate, so I get a lot of little scuttlebutt there once in a while. But I've enjoyed every minute at Martyn High. There's just so many memories and so many awesome people that are here at Martyn that I met, teachers, students. It's just been just so many that I can't think. There's just so many, and I really enjoyed my time when I was here at Martyn High. It's just, what can I say? I love Martyn High School. Thank you.
Untitled Tiger Legends and honored guests, and welcome to Tigerland. My name is Maria Rivera, and I am a senior here at Martyn High School, and a proud member of La Banda del Ánimo and the Dr. Dennis D. Cantu Health Science Magnet School. It is with great pleasure to introduce to you Mrs. Marta E. Walker. Mrs. Marta Walker is a proud mother to Virginia Franco, Ricardo Walker, and Francesca Santos. Mrs. Walker is the daughter of Elba Martinez and began her early education at Bruni Elementary School. Mrs. Walker grew up in the Colonia Guadalupe in the barrio called El Siete Viejo. One can say that Mrs. Walker evokes the true personification of Tiger spirit. Mrs. Walker was a proud Tiger fan and cheered in the pep squad, as well as she was part of the choir. To expand her horizons and knowledge, she went on and began her college career at the Laredo Junior College and then proceeded to Texas A&M International University, where she obtained a Bachelor of Arts. Mrs. Walker is known for being a hardworking and independent woman, as she has been working for long periods of her life in different locations. For example, she held the position in Webb County as a CAA, as a social worker, as well as an office manager in Kmart for 28 years. Mrs. Walker keeps on giving back to her community and to the district that raised her by holding the position of substitute coordinator. The memories that are collected throughout high school are never forgotten, and some of Mrs. Walker's fond memories include when she would hang around the Tasty Burger and she would listen to her and her friends' favorite songs in the jukebox. High school is also a place where many lessons are learned, and one of Mrs. Walker's most memorable lessons learned was when she proved herself that she was capable of achieving more than she ever realized. Mrs. Carol Wilson was a teacher she fondly remembers as being her mentor. Finally, a personal message that Mrs. Walker would like to share with the student body is: remember, the most important things in life are not things but people. You might get to be the wealthiest and most powerful person in the world, but without compassion, all of that equals to zero. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present to you from the class of 1969, Tiger legend, Mrs. Marta E. Walker.
Thank you, everybody. And as you should know right now, I'm not your typical legend. This Martyn High School is known as La Escuela del Ánimo. Well, class of 69 started that ánimo. And I don't care if you went to Nixon, Cigarroa, anywhere, the minute you hear this song, hit it, Mr. Castro. That's right. Anywhere you go, that song, I don't care where you went to, it hits you, because that's Laredo speaking. That's Laredo speaking. Okay, I see my boss here, two of my bosses, and I know they're going like, oh my God, what is she going to say?
I'm recording it.
Don't worry. It'll be okay. When Mr. Pro went to my office, he went over and says, Ms. Walker, I came here to officially tell you that you're a Tiger Legend. And I go, what? Are you kidding me? He goes, no. I go, are you kidding me? He goes, no. And I thought to myself, God, a straight C student. Maybe with a couple of D's there. How could I be a Tiger Legend? Oh my God, And I started to get real nervous. When teachers would ask me, Marta, what are your goals? I remember telling one of my teachers, my goal is to get married, have kids, and live in La Colonia Guadalupe. Nobody told me La Colonia Guadalupe were the projects. I thought I was kind of like rich, you know, because my other students, my friends, they lived in houses made out of wood. Mine was made out of bricks. So I said, I'm okay. So that was my goal, people, to live in the Colonia Guadalupe. The word college was never mentioned in my house. Never. So I never thought about going to college. My sister Lucha, she was the one that, every once in a while used to say, I want to go to college. We're not college people. But she was the only one that wanted to go to college. My mom worked at the tiendas downtown. She worked at La Perla, she worked at Farragut, and then she worked for Mercy Hospital for 25 years at the linen department. She worked very hard for us, very, very hard for us. We were 5 children. We were 5 girls and 2 boys. My mother right now has Alzheimer's. My mother has Alzheimer's and she is a regent. I go every day after work to visit my mother. I lay down with her. I'm always with her. And if I am what I am today, it's because of my mother. She never did tell us go to college. What she told us was, Martyn, always, always be good to people. Always take care of people. Be caring, be a caring person, and be a hard worker. So I carried that on. I did get married. I had 3 kids, but I did not live in the Colonia. I started working in little places, my first job was at City Service Furniture. I was here in high school, and I worked at City Service Furniture for a while. Then I worked at the Salvation Army, and then I went to Kmart. I worked 28 years in Kmart. I loved them. I had little K's running down my back. I would do the blue light. I would do everything. I love any customer that would get angry, they would send Martha Walker. Martha Walker, we have a client that's very upset, so I would go and take care of them. I loved Kmart. Well, I became a single parent. And my kids told me, Mom, go to college. And I go, huh? College? I go, no. She goes, why don't you? And I thought about it, and I go, Miss Carol Wilson, like she mentioned, I was a C student. I was always playing and joking around. Not that I was a bad student. I was always playing, and I still am playing and joking. Okay, so she told me one time, Martha, you can do the honor roll. You have it in you. And I said, no, ma'am. She goes, yes, you do. So she says, I challenge you 6 weeks to make the honor roll, which I did. So when my kids told me, Mom, go to college, I go, you know what? This is like the challenge Miss Wilson was telling me. And I bet you I could do it. So I didn't even know what to do, and I go, what do I do first? She goes, you go to a counselor. And I went, I took the assessment test, and I had to start with all the remedials. Remedial math, remedial. So I took the classes, because I was a single parent. I would go Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays and Thursdays. All of a sudden, guys, I had my associates. I go, dude, God. And I said, oh, I'm content with that. But then that little bug, he says, man, I can get my degree. So I went to 10AU, I got my degree in sociology and psychology, and I kept working at Kmart. I was there at Kmart till there was an opening here at LISD, which is the place to be. Fortunately, guys, I got the position. I've been working there at central office. I am in charge of the substitute teachers and in charge of attendance. So, students, when you see a substitute in your class, I want you to approach them and tell them, thank you. because 1 year of your life is taught by a substitute teacher. So I want you to go and tell them thank you for your service. Okay, guys? Yes. All right. Not all of us are going to go to college. That's why LISD prepares all of you guys either to go to get a career, to go to college, or the military. Please take advantage of all of these things that LISD has to offer. How did I end up here? Because of my attitude. I've always been a positive person. Bad things have happened to me, a lot of bad things. And most of the things that happen, you cause them yourself, and you can get out of it. So I always try to get out of a situation when I'm down and out. There at work, Dr. Cruz and Ms. Ramirez can tell you, every morning, no matter what kind of a day I've had, I go into my other, my other co-worker's office and I go, morning in the morning. And I'm sure some people go, oh, there she goes again. But you know what, guys? When I don't go to work, everybody goes, I miss my morning in the morning. So always be positive people, always. I see a lot of angry birds nowadays. Why are you angry? People, there's nothing to be angry about. Life is too short, too short. And the message that I would give to you is to pay it forward. Pay it forward. Do something nice for somebody. If you don't have money, just, go visit a friend. Go visit somebody at the home. Take somebody some food. Pay it forward. You know what my favorite thing to do is? I go to HEB and I spot a senior citizen, and they're walking with their little card and they have little items. And then they get to pay and they pick up their little purse and they're getting their money out. What I like to do is tell the cashier, it's on me. I'm paying it forward. And I'm saying this, guys, because I'm leaving home. So when you see me at HEB, pay it forward, okay, guys? In closing, guys, I would like for my 3 children to stand up. Francesca is right here. Vicky Blanco. Like I said, in my house, the word college was never mentioned. My mother never, ever told me, I love you. Never. Yet, I knew she loved me. I knew it. We're not from the family that, I love you, bye, I love you, I love you. I never say I love you. And my kids, they are yearning for those words. So today, in front of everybody, Virginia Blanco, I love you with all my heart. Ricardo Rotc, I love you with all my heart. Francesca Miranda Santos, I love you with all my heart. Thank you, everybody. Oh, I forgot to mention my secretaries. They took their time to be here today, so thank you, girls. Thank you. Good
morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the flagship school of Laredo Independent School District, Martyn High School. Before beginning, I would like to thank you for joining us today in this very special ceremony. My name is Karen Figueroa, and I am a member of Lavalle del Ánimo and a student at the Dr. Dennis D. Cantu Health Science Magnet School. It is with great pleasure as I stand before you today and introduce to you with great honor the next Tiger Legend, Mr. Jose Luis Flores. Mr. Flores He attended Central Elementary School and L.J. Christian Junior High and is a proud graduate of Raymond and Tirsa Martin High School from the mighty class of 1971. During his high school experience, Mr. Flores participated in several organizations such as the JROTC program, the Slight Rule Club, Number Sense. He was part of the Spanish National Honor Society and the Pan American Student Forum. After high school, he furthered his education at the University of Texas at Austin, where he earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in economics. Mr. Flores became the Assistant Airport Manager in July 1984 and was promoted to the position of Airport Manager in 1986. During his career as an airport manager, Mr. Flores directed the construction of the airport on Loop 20 and years later made great improvement to the infrastructure of our local airport. He was able to obtain more than $200 million in grant monies and undertook a major reconstruction effort that included improvement of 3 runways, a roadway extension, and pavement improvements. Furthermore, Mr. Flores was also able to construct a $24 million passenger terminal for the comfort of visiting travelers. Not only did Mr. Flores help improve the airport by reconstruction, but he also helped influence foreign trade and commerce. Through his efforts in increasing foreign trade, Mr. Flores was involved in the expansion of the city's foreign trade zone program that now includes all 3,376 miles of Webb County. On December 2015, Mr. Flores was recognized and honored by the Laredo Community College during the 2nd Annual Impact Economic Development Forum, where he received the Economic and Industrial Development Award. After 32 years of service and dedication to the city of Laredo, Mr. Flores' position as airport manager came to an end in August 2016 following retirement. Mr. Jose Luis Flores is enjoying his retirement with his lovely wife, Ms. Laura Alicia Herrera. Mr. Flores' message to the students of Martyn High is, believe me, si se puede. If you have the will to further your education, you will find a way. And now I present to you the Tiger Legend from the class of 1971, Jose Luis Flores.
I'm truly humbled and honored by today's recognition. I'd like to introduce my lovely wife, Laura. My beautiful daughter, Cassandra. And my Tiger sisters, Maria Simona, for the good job you did with me.
Yeah. For students, if they want to go to college, they can. There's no longer excuses as why they can't. I remember when I was a senior, my cousin, Mary Gonzalez, she's the one that got me motivated to apply to UT. And so it was a struggle. I remember making checks for the weekend, $4. That was my budget. If it was for work study program. So the day of graduation from
Martyn High. The next day, I show up at the Boys Club and worked the summer there at the Boys Club, and the following summer as well. That helped a lot. That I was so busy working, and I wanted to work as much as I could, that I skipped orientation at UT. So I show up the day before, and I had a map, to get to the buildings for the classes, and so that was a challenge, for the first couple of days. I remember going to apply to a dorm, and there were no openings. Everybody had already, booked the apartments. So I ended up at a building, a program that was mostly for foreign students. So my first roommate was Chinese from Hong Kong. So I developed a good relationship with my Chinese friends and Canadian and Iranian and so on. So upon graduation from the university, I thought that I would now be able to write bigger checks for my entertainment. But my dad passed away. And so I started working in the Bruni and Heftonville areas for two uranium companies. Westinghouse, Westinghouse was building nuclear reactors. And so I worked there for about 5 years. Then I got an offer I couldn't refuse from Conoco. So I went to work for Conoco for the next almost 4 years. Soon the companies realized that they could buy the uranium in the open market a lot cheaper than what it was costing us to produce the uranium. And so they had a reduction in force across the board, and I was out. And so I applied at the airport. Back then, Carlos Gonzalez was the manager. 6-8 months later, he decides to retire. And so I was the assistant to the director at the time. And then Marvin Townsend, who was the first city manager in Laredo, he made me an offer to take the airport director's job. And I thanked the city council members then, and I thanked the city council members, the airport advisory board. I know that Mr. Bueno, Mr. Noyola served on the airport advisory board. Ms. Liendo at city council, Dr. Juarez also at city council. So, if I was a baseball player, and I would count the number of hits and strikes, I would say that I was batting an incredible 99.9%. That's with the board, the advisory board, and with the city council, because they've always accepted my recommendations, and because of that support, we were able to convince the Federal Aviation Administration that we deserved grant money. So in total, it was more than $210 million, and the funding continues through today. When the base closed back in 1973, deactivated in 73, and the city took over in 1975, it was a tremendous asset to the city, but also equally tremendous liability to the city of Laredo. We had issues with environmental, we had collapsing infrastructure as far as
the pavements, the runways, the aprons, and we also had the buildings that were substandard that needed to be demolished. So we accomplished a lot during my tenure, and that's because of the support we had from the board and from city council. In 2016, I developed illness. I had nerve pain on the left side of my face, and that prompted me then to retire. And so I retired, about 16 months before completing 66 years. But it was totally gratifying to me to have been able to do a little bit to get the airport reconstructed. We now have the longest runway in South Texas. It's even longer than the one in San Antonio. The pavements here are even much better than the ones in San Antonio. We have our air cargo business that's really growing. It's only on the passenger side that we could do a lot better. But I'm glad to have been able to put a grain of effort in that airport. And I thank the committee, Tiger Legend Committee, for honoring me. I also remember Coach Liscano, that I believe was instrumental in forming this committee. He also served on the airport advisory board. And so my thanks to the board members and to city council throughout the years for their support. Thank you.
And treasurer of the Martyn High School Future Farmers of America and a member of the National Honor Society. I am honored to introduce a woman who has personified the very nature of what being a tiger is all about. Mrs. Berta Montemayor Villarreal, born to Alfredo and Josefa Montemayor, lived in El Puente Blanco barrio. Ms. Villarreal started off her education at Don Tomas Sanchez Elementary, then moved on to LJ Christian Middle School, and then to Martyn High School. As a student, she was part of various organizations. She was second vice president in 10th grade, first vice president 11th grade, and a member and president her senior year of the Courtesy Service Club. She was also vice president and treasurer of the National Honor Society, member of the Spanish Honor Society, and the Student Council. She graduated in 1974 and continued her studies at Laredo Junior College, where she earned an associate's degree. Ms. Villarreal did not stop there. She went on and earned a Bachelor's of Science degree in Mathematics and Spanish in 1978 from Laredo State University, which is currently Texas A&M International University. When she was a student in high school and college, she held various part-time jobs. Holding those jobs taught her, in her own words, the importance of punctuality and doing a job well. She began her professional career by teaching mathematics at San Agustin High School. In 1979, she was hired as a mathematics teacher here at Martyn High School, where she taught for over 35 years and was the math department master teacher for over 20 years. She helped guide her department to become one of the most successful in the district. She owes her success as an educator to her colleagues who helped her and encouraged her and challenged her. Some of these influences include Colonel Roberto Flores, Dr. Cecilia Moreno, Ms. Lupita Howard, Mrs. Ophelia Chapa, and Mrs. Rosie Arrezola. The message Ms. Vergara would like to tell our student body is to make the most of your years here at Martyn High School. The job market keeps changing. Many jobs are disappearing and new ones are being created. By getting a well-rounded education, you can be better prepared for tomorrow's job market. Take time to enjoy student life, such as attending games, concerts, and plays. Better yet, participate in these events, as these will teach you vital social skills, such as respect, responsibility, confidence, and more. Also, if your schedule allows it, take courses, such as advanced courses, accounting, auto mechanics, or welding. These courses will allow you to gain experiences that may open new job opportunities in your future. The choices you make now will define your future potential. The class of 1974 and herself are so grateful for all the support they were giving as students that they pay it forward by awarding a scholarship annually to a deserving senior. So please, students, cherish the friendships you've made, be grateful for the support and guidance the faculty has provided for you, and remember to pay it forward in some way in the future. It is my honor today to present one of the 2018 Tiger Legends, Ms. Berta Montemayor Villarreal.
Thank you, Yesenia, for a lovely introduction. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It was an unexpected and wonderful surprise to hear a voicemail message 2 weeks ago. It said, "This is Mr. Guajardo. You've been selected as a recipient of Tiger Legends 2018. Please call to let me know if you accept." I played the message several times before I returned the call. Thank you, Mr. Pitin Guajardo, Mr. Guillermo Pro, and the Tiger Legends Committee for this great honor. Dr. Seuss said, "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened." His words summarizes how I felt upon my retirement in 2014. I cherish the memories I made here as a student and a teacher. Martyn High School has been and continues to be my second home. I did my student teaching here under the supervision of Mrs. Diana Garcia. After teaching 35 years, I now look forward to substitute assignments, especially those assignments in the hardworking and awesome math department. Among the biggest influence in my professional life, besides my parents, of course, was my school principal, Colonel Roberto Flores. My first 15 years in teaching were under his leadership. Every morning he would stand outside his office and greet faculty and students. At every meeting he would advocate for students and say to us, "Love your students." His words and his example demonstrated we were all a family, a Tiger family. This is why my beloved Martyn High School will always be my second home. I would like you to meet my other family, my husband, Enrique Villarreal, class of 72, my lovely daughter, Sandra Laura Villarreal, the Communities in School Coordinator at Lara Academy, my sister, Ana Montemayor Gomez. She's the head counselor here at Martyn High School, and my dear brother-in-law, Ricardo Gomez. Thank you all for your love and support. With a big smile, love in my heart, and trying, no crying, I want to express my gratitude. I am grateful to Laredo ISD for all the wonderful teachers who impacted my life. for all the inspiring colleagues who always challenged me to do my best, and for all the students who crossed my path, some of them here in the audience. Congratulations to all the honorees. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and may God continue to bless the faculty and students of Martyn High School, the students of Tiger Land.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gerardo Ismael Moreno, and I'm a student at Dr. Dennis Licanto Health Science Magnet. Today, April 27 of 2018, I have the honor to meet a very special person, someone that should be our model follower. I'm talking about Mr. Ernesto Sandoval, or new Tiger Legend. Mr. Sandoval is the son of Ernesto and Blanca Sandoval. His educational years started at J.C. Martyn Elementary. However, Mr. Sandoval's favorite moment didn't happen when he was in elementary. His favorite memories happened in high school. These moments include the pep rallies and the lunch at the Tiger Den. Furthermore, one memory that Mr. Sandoval will never forget is when he remembered using his dad's truck to go pick wood for the bonfire. The bonfire were right before the rivalry game against Nixon. This is a memory he will never forget. After his graduation in 1984, he went to Laredo Community College and then transferred to the University of Washington to get a bachelor's in political science. After receiving his first degree, he continued his education and received a master's in business administration from the University of Phoenix. All his success would not be possible without his teachers, Ms. Diana Garcia, Colonel Flores, and Ms. Mel Thurmond. However, the most important influence in his life was his father. His father's guidance modeled him as a hard work student and work ethic. Mr. Sandoval is the current principal of J.B. Alexander High School. Mr. Sandoval's message to all the students to rise and rise again, never quit. Even though he leads the Bulldogs, his Tiger pride will never fade because once a Tiger, always a Tiger. Ladies and gentlemen, I now present the Tiger Legend, Mr. Ernesto Sandoval.
I kid you not, after all these years, I still get goosebumps when I hear the fight song. And I really do. I really still feel goosebumps after I hear that fight song. And yes, what a humbling experience it is to be here this morning with such a great class of people. I'm like, wow. At Martyn, I flew under the radar. If it not for some of the people that were here back then, I don't know if I would be here today. I remember Ms. Diana Garcia. I was horrible at math when I was here, and that was very difficult. Like one of the other persons said, I think it was Mr. Juarez. My sister was here. She was excellent in calculus. My other sister's a math teacher. ¿Y tú qué? You know, it's like that's kind of like what happened to you. So that was a struggle until Ms. Diana Garcia. I don't know what it was about that lady and her teaching style, but it brought out the best in me. I could do numbers in my head. I just couldn't put it on paper. Back then, there was no term for ADD or ADHD, and there was no pills, nada más era la chancla. You know, that's all we had. And in high school, la chancla, it didn't work no more. But I still think back to my teachers here at Martyn High School, Ms. Mel Thurmond, Ms. Diana Garcia, Ms. Quintanilla, great ladies that helped shape who I am today. And more importantly, more so than anybody, Mr. Colonel Flores. I still role model, I try, what my patience, my perseverance, my compassion, what I do for the students that I work with comes from Colonel Flores. I remember a fellow student of my graduating class was expelled, unbeknownst to Colonel Flores. Colonel found out, gets in his car, goes to the boy's house, picks him up, brings him back, re-enrolls him in the school. The young man graduated because of Colonel Flores. That's the kind of person that we've had here. Those are the kinds of people that help shape who I am today. I always try to shape the message for my audience. And so, to the adults, I say this. There is greatness in Laredo. There is absolute greatness in who and what we are because of what you've done for the people in this room, in this audience. You have helped shape us. We have helped shape the students here. And I can tell you that honestly because I know what it is. As a student from Laredo, from Martyn High School, I went to Seattle. And I got to work with farm worker children. I got to see other people. I got to experience another part of the world. And what I saw there was kind of like, why are you so... I was wondering why the kids from Eastern Washington, the farm worker kids, were so shy and bashful and lacked a certain self-confidence. It didn't dawn on me till a lot of years later that I realized that they didn't have the benefits that I have of growing up in a great city like this. Their principals were not Hispanic. Their teachers were not Hispanic. Their doctors, their lawyers, their city leaders, their everybody, the entire community. So when my father told me, you can become anything you want to be, as long as you apply yourself, I had role models in every field in this city. All I had to do was look up. And so to you, the adults, and well, let me just, for those kids that I got to work with and become friends with, they didn't have that. They grew up with, I remember 1991, a sign in Yakima, Washington at a restaurant that's read, no dogs or Mexicans allowed. I'm not talking the 50s or 40s or 30s, I'm talking 1991. And so, we didn't grow up with that here. We grew up with great role models, great people, great things that we could aspire to. And that helped me. And I can now say that because it took me a couple years to figure it out. Why? Why them, not me? Two things. Number one, our great role models in this city. And number two, my father always telling me you can become anything you want to become as long as you work hard at it. To the students, I say two things. Or to the students, I say one thing. And again, it comes from the last two lines of the poem Invictus. And it's, I am the master of my fate. To the students, you have choices. Each and every one of you here today has choices, and you're going to become the product of your choices. Choose wisely. Choose an education, choose college, choose the right college, choose life, choose the right thing over the wrong thing always. Because the last line of that poem reads, I am the captain of my soul. When you go before God, on your after your life is done, you're going to say you had choices. How are you going to explain some of those choices to God? And what are you going to say? What did you do? Well, I did this because of this, or I did that because of that, or somebody told me. Make the best choices. There will be obstacles. I kid you not. You will, to this day, when you leave this town, this great city of ours, you will experience signs that say no dogs or Mexicans allowed. It's unfortunate. Those are obstacles. Obstacles that yet we will continue to work hard to overcome. And so, I leave you with these words to my fellow Tiger students, all of you beautiful students, eager young minds that I think, when I think of Laredo, yeah, we've surpassed the Valley in terms of competition. When you talk, Mr. Pro talked about it earlier, how we compete in UIL, band, football, track, basketball, academics, whatever it is we're competing in. Laredo surpassed the Valley, and we're now starting to compete with San Antonio. And I'm proud of that. And the day will come when we will surpass San Antonio as well. I know we will because of the greatness of this city, the greatness of these children sitting here before me today. So I say to you guys this. This is a poem called Rise from Paul Hart, and it reads, wait till my viejito time comes out, I gotta cut my glasses off. I was doing so well, right, with the viejito time. Take every stone the bigots of this world cast against you, and use them to build my church in this world. And when they seek to oppress you, and when they try to destroy you, rise and rise again and again, like the phoenix from the ashes, until lambs have become lions and the rule of darkness is no more. My fellow Tiger students, rise and rise again. Overcome your obstacles. Do what you want to do. The world is tiny now. The choice is yours. Do the right thing. God bless everybody.
Good morning, honored guests and Tiger family. My name is Clara Rivera, and I am part of La Banda del Ánimo and a member of the Dr. Dennis D. Cantu Health Science Minor Program. It is my great honor and pleasure to be here today and introduce the spirit of our community, a woman that has given countless hours and support to her alma mater, Martyn High School. Araceli Chely Velasquez Gonzalez, daughter of Felix and Emma Velasquez, and a proud graduate of the class of 1985, used to live in 1317 West San Jose Street in the neighborhood known as Las Cruces. During her high school career, Mrs. Velasquez was part of the cheerleading squad for 3 years, where she was the co-head her senior year and also part of the Tigerettes for 4 years, where she served as colonel during her senior year. Some of her recognitions consist of being recognized on Who is Who as head Tigerette and being crowned third runner-up in the homecoming court. After graduation, Velasquez pursued a higher education at St. Edward's University, and her first job was as a dance teacher for Crystaline's Academy and as an instructor at De La Garza School of Gymnastics. This allowed Mrs. Velasquez to gain confidence and positivity throughout the phases of her life. Presently, she is the manager for Dr. Santiago Gutierrez and Dr. David Benavides. She attributes her success as a professional to her dedication, commitment, and her outgoing personality. Like many others, Ms. Chely Velasquez had teachers and mentors at Martyn High that guided her to realize her goals in life. Colonel Flores, Ana Hernandez, Aurora Sepulveda, and Ms. Anita Tijerina were the ones that impacted her life the most and shaped her to be the person she is now. During high school, Mrs. Velasquez created many beautiful memories that she cherishes for a lifetime. Some in particular consist of the time during homecoming halftime the speaker gave out and the sponsors had to be yelling the places they had placed on the court. Yet she never heard her name, and all of the crowd started yelling her name so she could be recognized. Another would be her cheerleading competitions, and one special memory for her was the time where she traveled to León, Guanajuato as ambassadors for the city, and she received the key for the city. A big honor for her and her team represented at Martyn High School and her as the colonel. Mrs. Velasquez, who are known as Chely, has always been known for being the life of the party and the tiger with the most spirit. The phrase, once a tiger, always a tiger, has been with her ever since she left high school. Her efforts for making Martyn High the high school with the most spirit has not been in vain, as she is one of the pioneers of her famous annual Martyn vs. Nixon tailgate. This famous event has brought many classes together year by year. Chely Velasquez has gained a special place in the hearts of everyone here at Martyn High. She is a familiar face at the annual pep rallies and our football. Overall, Mrs. Velasquez is a true legend that has always given her support and her time to her alma mater. A message that Mrs. Velasquez would like to share is, always stay positive, set goals, and reach them. Education is key. It is my distinct privilege to present our new Tiger legend from the class of 1985, Ms. Araceli Chely Velasquez Gonzalez.
Good morning, faculty, staff, teachers, guests, and fellow Tiger Legends. I feel extremely blessed to be here today at our beloved Tigerland, Martyn High School, and to be honored as one of your 2018 Tiger Legends. As an alumni of Martyn High School, I hold my former teachers, my principal, Colonel Roberto Flores, and all my classmates with the highest regards. I truly valued my education here at Martyn High School and my school spirit alma mater. I graduated in 1985, attended St. Edward's University and Austin Community College in Austin, Texas. I am happily married and have 3 beautiful children. I have worked as office managers for doctors' offices, and presently, like they mentioned, I am the office manager for the Dr. Santiago Gutierrez and Dr. David Benavides here in Laredo, Texas. I am very proud and honored for being recognized today as one of your Tiger Legends, for my accomplishments in organizing the Martyn Nixon Alumni Tailgate events for the past 7 years. I'm going to tell you a little bit how we started this. In 2011, I was approached with the idea of tailgating for a Martyn Nixon game. I recall being new to social media, Facebook. I wasn't too sure we would reach out to former classmates. I was a little skeptical about it, but somehow we tried it. Word got around, people showed up. Maybe 40 people showed up. 5 tents were up. Classmates from different years stopped by, mostly the 80 eras. We spent an all-day afternoon outside Shirley Field parking lot, cooking out, reminiscing, remembering our years at Martyn High School. Some of us hadn't seen each other since graduation years. Some of us were just happy to see each other, reminiscing and just talking about the good old days. Once it was all over, we would walk over to Shirley Field to watch our mighty Tigers play for their football game. I also organized small get-togethers to get us all together once it was all over at the end of the evening. In 2012, there was more talk. There was more alumni wanting to join this event. At this time, Civic Center Shirley Field parkings was our area. We started setting up at 7 in the morning. About 200 people showed up that year. 10 tents maybe went up. That was our 2nd annual Martyn Nixon tailgate event. Alumni came from all over, Texas and out of the state. We even organized accommodating them for hotels accommodations, etc. Alumni came around wanting to join, asking me what they needed to do to get involved. They wanted to come, they wanted to join the following year. We enjoyed that afternoon cooking, reminiscing, enjoying ourselves. An all-day full event. That year I created a Facebook page, a group under the Martyn High School Alumni's Tailgate. The page was created by me so that I could keep alumni informed of what was going on, but most importantly, about the tailgate event. In 2013, it marked our 3rd annual tailgate. That year was our year. We pretty good had an idea that it was going to be a big success because of all the attention and the publicity that it was getting. And of course, because we were Martyn High School Tigers, and that's what we're known for. It was a huge success. Over 25 tents went up that year. And about 500 people showed up for that event. Alumni again all over came. They planned their weekend for the tailgate event. Again, hotel accommodations for all those guests coming from out of town. From being interviewed by your local TV media, radio stations, to being recognized by the city of Laredo for being the organizer for the tailgate event with the Once a Tiger, Always a Tiger award. This same year, we founded the Martyn High School Tailgate Alumni Scholarships. Alumni would participate once a year on a bowl-a-thon fundraiser that would raise funds for these scholarships. That year, 2 scholarships were awarded and over $2,000 for scholarships for their continuing education. I also formed a class representative group on a Facebook page. These were my class heads, like I would name them. They were the voice, they were the connection, they were the leaders between their classmates and me. I found it easier to communicate through them, as it was much harder for me to come to terms or agreeing with such a bigger group as it was the Martyn High School tailgate group. My class representatives were my right hand for 5 years. Most of them, if not all of them, all served the 5 years. I am forever grateful for all of them, for always working with me, supporting me, but for most importantly, for their confidence in me year after year. Sorry. By 2014, it was our 4th annual tailgate, another huge success event. 30 classes showed up, participating. 800 people showed up at the parking lot of Shirley Field. A highlight for that year was our Banda del Ánimo, Martyn High School band, marching over to the parking lot with all former alumni from their band to joining us in playing the fight song Alma Mater and La Negra. That year, our football game tickets went up. By buying all tickets for alumni, about 450 reserve tickets were bought from alumni. Again, we sold out the reserve section for Martyn High School. After tailgating, once again, we would head over to Shirley Field entrance and watch our mighty Tigers play. 2015 was our last tailgate at Shirley Field. Due to construction projects, we were forced to move location, but not before we closed it out with a bang. We burned the Mustang Piñata, and we purchased 480 reserve tickets for our loved ones. I'm telling you, I can tell you a funny thing about it. I'm sure Ms. Martinez will agree with me, and I am not lying. Funny thing is, when tickets would go on sale for Martyn High School, for Barnixon game, I would buy the tickets for the alumni. I would get in line, 7 in the morning, athletic department. Ms. Martinez was in the department at that time, and she would ask, is Chelly already in line? Ask her how many tickets she needs. They knew that once I would get up to get the tickets up, their job was done. Ya acabaron for the day. They were sold out for the day. So some of them liked seeing me at the light, some of them didn't like seeing me there. They had to accommodate me 480 tickets, so forth. But it was fun doing it. We did it for all the alumni. We were there, and I got my tickets. 2016 and 2017, we moved our tailgate event to the Unitrade Center. Yeah, nervous and scared I was, sure, because of the new venue. We didn't shy down, though. Our alumni page was at 2.2 thousand members. We knew we could get the word out. We knew we could let them know of our new location. We hired bands for entertainment. We hired security. We even recognized some of our Tiger Legends for that evening. Unitrade even opened up the baseball field so that we could go in and enjoy watching our Tigers play in their big jumbotron inside the Unitrade Center. That year, 40 classes participated from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000 eras. That year, over 1,000 people showed up to this event. Again, our scholarships went up. We went to 4 scholarships for 4 students with our fundraiser of the bulletin. And finally, last year, before kicking off our 7th annual tailgate, I took the hardest decision to step down. to retire from this wonderful event, citing health reasons as honestly and truthfully my only reason why leaving this wonderful group. I am very grateful to everyone that supported me in this magnificent 7 years event that brought so many of us together after so many years seeing and listening to everyone's beautiful compliments has been my most amazing experience ever. This moment is much bigger than me. This moment is for all my MHS alumni. My message here today for all students is to never give up, to set your goals and to reach for them, to respect your parents, but most importantly, to always stay humble. I would like to thank the following people who have helped me throughout making this successful event. Fernando Lopez, Marta Medina, Juan Rico, here today. Leticia Gonzalez, she's here today. Turi Palacios, here today. Mr. and Mrs. Manuel Garcia. I would also like to acknowledge the people that are here today with me celebrating this amazing award. My husband, Gary Gonzalez. Where are you, Gary? Did he make it? Gary. Thank you for allowing me to do this year after year, babe. Hours and hours away from home and my family. My beautiful daughter, Lisa Marie. Did she make it? Lisa Marie? Thank you, Lisa, for being here today. My other daughter, Ashley, she's in dental studying. She couldn't be here today. And my son, 5th grader, Gary Jr., and Matias Deano, also in school, couldn't be here today. But I also have my beloved and beautiful mother, Miss Emma Velasquez, Mommy. She's been my rock the whole time. I am the only daughter from my parents. I am the only sister. I have 8 brothers, and a few of them are here today. I would like for them to stand up. My brother Felix Velasquez. My brother Sergio Velasquez. My brother Jaime Velasquez. And my brother Rene Velasquez. My sister-in-law dearly to me, Adriana Velasquez and Olivia Velasquez. Thanks again to Mr. Crow, the committee, for choosing me for this distinguished award, as it is to be inducted to the Tiger Legends of Martyn High School. Once a Tiger, always a Tiger. Thank you, ladies.
Good morning, faculty, staff, family members, and honorable inductees. It gives me great pleasure to stand before you today to introduce the next Tiger Legend. My name is Venustiano Sustecto III. I'm a proud member of Lavalle del Animo and the Tiger Robotics team. Dr. James Orfila grew up in 1814 Washington Street with his parents John and Laura Orfila. He attended numerous elementary schools, including Mary Help of Christians, McDonald, Urban, Zoalina, and St. Peter's. Later, he attended Raymond and Thiersma Martyn High School. While in high school, Dr. Orfila was part of numerous organizations and was a very well-rounded individual. He was a football player and was involved in choir. Furthermore, he was voted most wittiest his senior year. As you can see, His days at Tigerland were very busy and quite memorable. He recalls many teachers who played a poignant role in his life. They include Ms. Luz Maria Davila, Ms. Melba Ornelas Gonzalez, Ms. Alicia Salinas, and Mr. and Mrs. Vera, to name a few. Dr. Orfila shaped his work ethic while he was a student holding part-time jobs at Casa Alberto, Palm View Pharmacy, and was a lifeguard with city, county, and state. After graduating, he pursued his education at Laredo Junior College, followed by the University of Texas at San Antonio. While at UTSA, he obtained his bachelor's degree and a master's of science in biology with an emphasis in neuroscience. He also earned a doctor's of philosophy in biology, also with an emphasis in neuroscience. Dr. Orfila studied topics such as neuroanatomical and physiological understanding, and also electrophysiological mechanisms. He continued his education by taking part in the SPINES program at the Marine Biological Laboratories in Woodhull, Massachusetts. SPINES is a special program in neuroscience, ethics, and survival. He also attended the University of Texas at El Paso as a postdoctoral fellow. Soon after, he attended the University of Colorado, Denver Anschutz Medical Campus, also as a postdoctoral fellow. Dr. Orfila is now a faculty instructor and research associate professor at the University of Colorado School of Medicine. Dr. Orfila has over 20 publications in reputable journals and book chapters, and over 60 abstract publications presented at national and international meetings. Dr. Orfila has had an impressive and extensive career in academics, and he attributes most of his success to effective communication, determination, and the ability to network effectively with others, as well as the unrelenting support from his wife Cecilia and his two sons John Robert and James Edwards Jr. His message for the student body is, continue with your education following graduation, as you'll come to the realization that your responsibilities after graduation will be challenging and a real eye-opener. It is a great honor to introduce to you an amazing man, a great father, a leader, and a role model, Dr. James E. Orfila.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You did a really good job in introduction, as did all the other students. Being here, I'm really honored to be part of the Tiger Legends, as my father and my brother are also past legends. And thinking what I would be able to talk about today, what can I bring to the podium that would be significant to get this award. And I think my academic career would be one. I study and I work as a research neuroscientist at the University of Colorado and Federal campus. And I earned my degree in neuroscience, neurology, and I've always studied mechanisms involved with learning and memory, how the brain forms information, stores, and retrieves. And currently I'm working as a neuroscientist looking at how stroke, cardiac arrest, traumatic brain injuries affect the human brain. And I use these models with mice, rats, and pigs. And I never thought my wildest dream I'd be a research scientist, a neuroscientist, working with the brain, how the brain functions. It's really marvelous that I've always enjoyed my career, and I'm an electrophysiologist who specifically studies individual neurons in the brain in these models of mice, rats, and pigs, and how they function, and how brain injuries affect our daily functioning routines, emotions, behavior. And when I was an undergraduate, and I'll go through the rest of my story briefly, I went to a wedding, and I sat with a friend of mine, Brian, while they was getting married, and I sat next to a friend of mine, Joseph. And he looked at me and says, oye, James, ¿qué has hecho? No te he visto en muchos años. Digo, oye, Joseph, trabajo con ratas. Y me dice, ¿quién eres abogado? Dije, no, hombre. It's something I never thought I'd work with, but I never forgot that. He always said that to me. The first thing was, I thought I was on a trip, we're going to trabajar con ratas. So I work with these animals, and I study brain behavior, but I never thought I'd get here. So I started, like they said, I went to 5 different elementary schools. And along the way, I accomplished something that I'd never heard of anybody accomplishing. My academic career at a very young age was very challenging. I failed first and second grade. I never knew, I guess I didn't know how to do 1+1 or color it outside of lines. I did quite a bit. But I found out a few years back, my mother took out a notebook, that all my exams back then were 0 talking, 0 talking, 0 talking. So I was very social. But I never really took academia as serious. So I went on to Christian, met a lot of friends that came from all these different elementary schools. Went to high school at Martyn, where I had a lot more fun. I really enjoyed high school. But I never took my classes serious. I took the easiest classes way out. Most of my classes, my grades were C's, D's, and F's. I took a lot of summer school. And back then, D's were passing. But I had fun. I got the most wittiest award. And at the end of the day, I kind of think I was kind of like class clown. But that represented my grades. Because I never took it serious. I never dedicated myself to any of this. I never did. So, upon graduation, I went off to LJC, and I said, you know what, I'm going to go to school, and I'm going to get a degree. So I walk into this institution. The first thing they did was that year they implemented the placement exam. So I take this exam, which kind of modifies or measures your IQ and where you stand academically. And I walked out, I remember at the Learning Center, and there was a friend of mine named Jose. And he said, James, what did you get? He said, you know, I got remedial English, reading, and writing. And I said, what about you? He goes, I got the same thing. He said, what class are you going to register for? He goes, no, I'm not going to register for my classes. They think I'm dumb. This is a test, measures, and they say I'm dumb. I thought, you're dumb, man. He says, well, I'm not going to do it. I got a job, and I'm going to go to work. Well, I knew that I had to go to school. And when I started my classes at Laredo Junior College, they still have, and I know they do, they have financial aid. And I took my courses. And I had that mentality that they don't, I had my high school mentality where I would go have fun. I never took my classes serious. I still had it. In college, it's big boy schools. They don't check for attendance. They don't check to see whether they're going to have your parent-teacher conference. They don't care you're paying for it. This is who wants to go is going to get their degree. But I maintained it. And after my first year, I went from financial aid, which is the way the government gives you money to go to school. They pay for part of your courses. I got financial aid probation. By the end of my second year, I got financial aid termination. So I maintained my Banda del Animo, Tiger Legends, not Tiger Legends, my enthusiasm for having fun. Well, at the end of my second year, going into my third, probably my fourth, my parents were paying me. My parents were starting to pay my classes. And I would pass the class here and there with still a lot of D's, C's, F's, probably some drop, and I dropped quite a bit of my courses. Hence why it kicked me out of financial aid. So one day I get home, and I had just registered for this course, and the professor instructor named Claudio Perez at LCC. And he was a very animated instructor. He took it was a biology class, and he brought science to life and captivated my interest in science. And I said, wow, this is fun. Translationally, how the body functions, how, ecology, it's a big, round course. And that's a course that weeds out a lot of people who strive to go to medical school. So it's a really tough introduction course in college. And I get home after the first few weeks, and I'm watching TV, and this is where things change for me. I sit down with my dad. We'd get home at 5 and watch TV. And I sit down next to him. And we're watching the news every day, my brothers and sisters. And then he turned the TV on. And I said, oh, I'm in trouble. Something's going on. He never did that. And he looks at me using the recliner next to me. He says, son, what do you want to do with your career? Where do you want to go? What do you want to strive to be when you graduate? What is it? He goes, you're not getting any younger. And I said, Dad, I registered for this biology course, and I think I want to go into sciences. I think that's where I want to go into. And, he turned away. He looked back. That's the words. And he said, son, you can't make it in biology. You won't make it. You won't make it in science. And I said, well, he said, your older brother, John, has taken these courses. They're really hard. Chemistry, biology, all math courses. He goes, I want you to maybe try vocation. Try welding, air conditioning, electricity. Might be easier for you. Try that. And I said, you know, Dad, I said, all those careers are good. I agree. But if John can do it, why can't I? He said, son, sure. I got up that day, sorry, and I went to LJC, the vacuum, and I was upset. I was really upset at that. But not at my father, because he said it. Because I had C's, D's, and F's. I had dropped all my classes. He thought my son is wasting his time in college. Why? Give him maybe another hour. So that day I met a person that I named. His name was Mr. Determination. I was determined to pass my class. I was determined to prove, not to my father, but to prove to myself that I could make it, that I could pass biology. Well, I passed it. I went on to take my psychologies, Dr. Gray, passed it. My Englishes with Mrs. Garza, Ms. Jan Little, Dr. Chakuri. I passed my Englishes. My math courses, Mr. Perez. Chemistry was Dr. Roberts. Took all my classes. And then one day I applied for UT San Antonio without anybody knowing. I get the acceptance, go back to my dad, read this. He read it, he said, I'm proud of you. You've shown me that you're able to dedicate yourself, study, and accomplish what you want. So I leave Laredo, I go to UTSA. Now I met two other people, Mr. Responsibility and Mr. Independence. And it's very challenging, it's really hard, and it's a lot of fun. But I had to maintain that determination, that if I could pass one course, I could pass them all. So I go on to see the counselor. He says, what do you want to be? I said, you know what, I'm going to go physical therapy. That's what I'm going to go into. I'll be a physical therapist, I'll sign up for my classes, I'll be good. I get there, he gives me the whole rundown. Here are your courses, volunteer work, applications, everything. So I'm taking all these courses, and along the way, I meet a lot of students, a lot of friends. One in particular, we're taking general physiology. This is where I got introduced to research, biomedical research. Name was Ulises Ricoy. He's a dean at a university in New Mexico now. We're taking general physiology, and he tells me, James, let's get together and study for physiology. That one, let's go. He goes, I'm going to be working in a lab. Show up at the next time. So I knock on the door, and here's this one guy who shows up, gets up with a lab coat, face mask, thick gloves, and a fishing net. First thing I said, está loco. He said, vente conmigo. So we run around to this corner room, and there's a tank of water like a swimming pool. Okay? And the water's murky white water. And he has his fishing net, and he's frankly just searching for something. He said, "Párate, párate, párate." And he's looking and looking and looking. And you can't see under the water because it's murky and it's white. I thought a catfish, a bass, something is fishing. And he brings out a rat, body-wise, like the white lab rat with a tail. 500-gram rat. It was huge. And I'm just like amazed. What is this? What is it? This rat was going at 100 miles an hour, was very aggressive, agitated, biting. So he grabs this rat, gets it out, puts it in his whole cage and walks away. And I'm in amazement. I'm like, wow, how can he? I'd never seen that. Those should we shoot him at the ranch. So he comes back, and that night we talk about how he was, in particular that study, he was using a very powerful street narcotic that's abused by many people. And he was looking at the effects of this narcotic on memory and motor. I was amazed. I was like, this is really mind-blowing to me. I was physical therapy. By this time, I had 150, 140 hours of volunteer work in San Antonio at Ruiz, Cal. My application, I was in the society. He tells me, James, you know what? They're offering Edwin Barrera Rodriguez is going to teach a neurobiology course. You should take it. Well, let's take it. It was tough. It was a hard course. I took the course, And then there were 6 or 8 slots left in an advanced neurology to learn electrophysiology, which is the ability to record from single neurons in the brain of a rat. Very challenging. I said, you know what, I'll take it. After that, I joined the lab with Dr. Joe Martinez, where he studied the specific mechanism of how the brain stores, retrieves information in rats. So in the summer of '98, I go into his office, we had a long, extensive interview. He says, you know, James, you can volunteer in my lab. Go ahead. The fall, he gave me a position as the lab tech. I graduated in '98. In 2001, I got my master's in science, biology. And then in 2008, I got my PhD. However, I'm going to shift gears right now and put it into reverse. And I'm going to go back to before I got my bachelor's. When I was getting my bachelor's degree, I came down to Laredo. It was probably October of '98 when I was graduating. And I walked into the halls here at Martyn High School and spoke to the principal, Mrs. Rotc. And I interviewed her with her to get a position, get a job as a teacher here. So I walked in, she got the organization together, interviewed, and she called me a week later and said, James, you got the job. You'll be able to start teaching here January 5th or 6th. I said, great, thank you. With that in mind, I said, I'm done with school. I want no more school. I was happy to just get a bachelor's. My wife, my girlfriend back then, was here in Laredo. My family, my friends, I wanted to come home. So I go back to the department chair with my PI, Joe Martinez, and I tell Dr. Martinez, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. I've had a great experience. I got a teaching position at Martyn, my alma mater, and maybe one day we'll cross paths. I graduate in 2 months and I'm done. He tells me, James, for my own selfishness, I don't want to let you go. Think about your career. I said, okay, let's talk to go home, think about it, and tell me over the weekend what you want to do. So I come home and I talked to my wife, back then my girlfriend, I said, what do you want? Babe, they're offering me this, what do you want? What do you think? James, stay. So I called my sister, my brothers. What do you think? Stay, it's a great opportunity, go for your master's. He's telling you. If you want to go, like Joe Martinez told me, if you want to go for your master's, I'll guarantee. And if you want your PhD, he said, stay, go for your graduate career. So I called my mother, she said, stay. Called my dad, he said, you're done, come home. No more. So I stayed, and you know, in 2003, Joe called me up and tells me, James, I need you to be in the lab at X time. There are some people coming from Laredo that are going to donate a large sum of money to UT San Antonio. And I want you to be in our lab because they're going to walk through our lab. I said, okay. So I'm standing there with many colleagues, professors, and students, postdocs. And I see this group of maybe 6 to 8 individuals walking in. And I recognize one of them. He walks straight up to me and goes, hello, son, how are you? I said, Mr. Vidal Talavino. How are you doing today? With our ex-superintendent. I said, my name is James Orfila. And he said, he turned around, I remember, he gave some really nice compliments about my family. He knows my family very well. And he tells me, son, what are you doing here? How did you get here? So I tell him what Joe Martinez did, and how he told me, continue with your education. I'm going to guarantee you your master's, maybe your PhD. And he turned around, and I'll never forget, he gave me a really proud smile when I told him that I finished my master's in 2001 and went on, and I'm currently doing my PhD. He gave me a really proud smile. He said, like, good job, James. Then he turned around, he said some words to Dr. Martinez. He said, you know, Joe, I've been in education for over 40 years. And that is the best compliment any educator can get. Knowing that you made a difference in somebody's career, somebody's education. You moved them forward. And with that being said, to the students here at Martyn High School, you have that capability. You have the opportunity to approach your teachers each and every one of you, and each and every one of these educators in this room and people here have met the people that I call determination, Mr. Responsibility, Mr. Independence. Everybody has. Every teacher of yours here at Martyn High School is able to give you the advice and be your mentors, take advantage. Each and every one of them went to school, got a degree. They have their life. They have their story just as mine. At one point or another, they wanted to run away the way I did. Take advantage of that. They are each certified by the state of Texas to be here. I'm going to leave you with a story. Back in '96, my sister called me and tells me, Jimmy, we have a problem. What's going on? She goes, Mom was diagnosed with cancer, breast cancer. She said, and I said, okay, so what's going to happen? She goes, well, they're going to do an operation on her. She's going to go through heavy radiation and then chemotherapy. I said, okay, got to deal with it. So I remember driving down and going with my mother to the chemotherapy sessions with Dr. Tula's office. That used to be in the old doctor's hospital. And she would walk in, she was in her 50s. She was very strong, powerful, tiger. I'm going to pass it. Nothing can hurt me. I'll be fine. And I would sit with her while she started chemo. And we'd be talking, and she'd walk out of there, we'd go home. And you see the effects of this chemo. So she was no longer as strong. Her hair started falling. But then she would find the will to continue. And I would look at her, and I would tell her, you know, Mom, before you know it, it'll all be behind you. I would always tell her that. Before you know it, it'll be behind you. And she was telling me, you don't know what you're talking about. I said, well, you have no choice. You have to march on. And now she's been 22 years cancer-free. Moving forward 8 to 10 years from then, when I'm in grad school, and I'm taking courses that are above my brain grade, neuropsychopharmacology, neurochemistry, neurophysiology, these courses that I never thought in my wildest dream that I could have there in pathology. I'm taking these huge courses. And I wouldn't spend time. My sons were born. I would get home at 4:30 every day and leave by 7 to come back at 2 in the morning because I had to study twice as hard. Really struggled, but I had to. And I would call my mother in frustration and say, Mom, these tests are killing me. I can't take it. These are really hard. She would tell me, Hito, before you know it, it'll be behind you. It'll all be behind you. Same words I would tell her. Now, with that being said, to the Martyn High School students, remember that when you graduate, you will hit obstacles in your life. You'll always have challenges in life. No matter what, you will have that. You will have these challenges. And how you continue will form and carve your path to success. If you want to be an instructor, a teacher, a counselor, a principal, a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, you can do it. Because if the person next to you gets an A, you can get the A. If the person next to you gets the A in any course, you can do it. I know. Money, there's money out there. I hear, oh, I can't go down and go to school. I owe $100,000 in student loans. I made it, and that's why I'm here with you today. I went through what I had to do to get my education. Because no matter what, when you find those hard times, when you find yourself doubting yourself and saying you'd rather walk away and go some other route, no matter what, you have to challenge and beat them head on. Because before you know it, all these hard times, as it was for me, my mother and others and everybody in this room, that'll be behind you. Thank you. But I'd like to recognize a person who has been my biggest supporter, my best friend, my mentor, my wife Cecilia. When we got married in 2001, we bought a house. 2000, we bought a house in San Antonio. 2008, when I graduated, with no hesitations, with a 1.5-year-old and a 4-year-old, 3-year-old, we packed up, sold our house, and we went to El Paso. No hesitation. She said, "Let's go." To continue my postdoc. We built our home there. And by the way, I still own it. Anyone wants to buy a house in El Paso? 4 years later, I got an offer to go to the University of Colorado. Again, I told her, we have this opportunity. She said, "Let's go." No hesitation. Let's go. And it's very hard to leave just like that. But she's always supported me. My parents, thank you for all your support. My sons, John and James. I struggled in school, like I said. Both of my boys are honor rolls in Cherry Creek. Both of them are. And my older son just got accepted to high school. He got advanced placement in honors programs on all his courses. Totally different from his father. I'm proud of him. Mr. Lavalle, my father-in-law, thank you for your support. You've always been there. My sister, Laura, thank you. My brothers who can't be here because they have to work, John and Robert, same thing, thank you to them. Claudia Lanese Garcia, who really worked hard to get me this nomination along with my sister and got me here. And Mr. Lanese, thank you very much for your support as well over the years. Thank you very much for your time.
Wow. Wow. What you've just heard are the incredible journeys of all of these most deserving Tiger Legends. And as I say every year, and it just gets better every year, that's what it's all about, folks. The students that are sitting here, the students that are performing, the students that have served, that's what it's all about. Giving back to your community, believing in yourselves, overcoming obstacles, having the support of your family, that's what it's all about. And each person sitting here represents the best of the best. It is our sincere, tremendous honor to be here today with all of you and to thank you for your stories and for sharing with us your time. Because I know that time right now is, of course, the most valuable asset you have. Before we close, because of course we have to play the fight song and the alma mater, and we're going to. But what I would like to do is I want to thank a few people that made this all happen, and then I'm going to ask that Mr. Leindecker give us the honor of being the person that shows us the plaque that has all the honorees' names engraved in honor of Staff Sergeant Richard Leindecker. So I'm going to ask you to be the person that holds it. I do want to thank Mr. Pitin Guajardo for coordinating all this, for being the Tiger Legends. Mr. Carlos Bueno, Ms. San Juanita Gonzalez, Mr. Andres Ramos, of course, Ms. Isabel Mendez. Those are the committee, along with Ms. Cristina Segura, Mr. Carl Medina. They are the two teachers that organized the whole thing. They're responsible for all these young men and women that perform today. They have been working, obviously been working on the PowerPoints and on the presentation all week. We want to congratulate them for their hard work to present our Tiger Legends. They prepared them. A round of applause for them. I want to thank Ms. Joanne Sanchez, our art teacher. She did the programs and she does all the stuff to get it done. As I said, also Ms. Andrea Senders with the Culinary Arts. And if you don't know, Ms. Laura Hovel is here somewhere. Ms. Laura Hovel, she does the yearbook and makes sure that everything's documented. And I do want to thank, of course, the director of Lavalle del Animo and a proud graduate, Mr. Roberto Castro. At this time, I would like to ask Mr. Leindecker to please step up and to reveal the plaque that has, Mr. Guajardo, can you come up also, Mr. Ramos, the committee members, to show the plaque. The plaque will be displayed, if you look in the back on the wall, where it says Tiger Legends, that's going to be the place where we put the plaque, and we'll forever have the names of all the honorees engraved, and we want to thank each and every one of you today. And when we pull the banner and show the plaque, we will play. Congratulations to all of our Tiger Legends.